Would you die for something you knew was a lie? Because that's exactly what the apostles were accused of, dying for a lie. But the historical record tells a very different story, one that might change how you see everything. Let's start with the facts. Jesus was crucified around 30 AD under Pontius Pilate for claiming to be the Son of God and the King of the Jews. Not long after, in Acts 7, we meet Stephen, the first Christian martyr. He boldly proclaims Jesus as risen Lord and is stoned to death. Then, in 64 AD, Rome burns. Emperor Nero blames the Christians, arrests, torture, and execution follow. The Roman historian Tacitus even records that Christians were fastened with guilt and punished with the most exquisite tortures. The apostles knew the stakes, yet remarkably, they continued to proclaim one thing, that Jesus was alive, and we know it didn't end well for several of them. Let's look at four apostles whose martyrdom is well attested. First, James, son of Zebedee. Around 44 AD, King Herod Agrippa has him executed by the sword. Acts 12 records it plainly. Next, James, the brother of Jesus. He once doubted his brother, but after claiming to see the risen Christ, he became a leader in the Jerusalem church. Around 62 AD, Josephus records that the brother of Jesus, who was called Christ, was killed. Then Peter. Tradition says he was crucified upside down in Rome during Nero's reign. In John 21, Jesus even foretold the way Peter would die for him. And Paul, the former persecutor of Christians, becomes their boldest preacher. Around 67 AD, he's executed in Rome. He even writes in 2 Timothy 4 that his life is being poured out, his race finished, his faith kept. These men weren't clinging to a story for comfort. They chose death over denial. And there's probable evidence about two other disciples facing a similar outcome. Thomas, who once doubted, is said to have gone to India, killed with a spear around 72 AD. Andrew, Peter's brother, is remembered as crucified on an X-shaped cross in Greece. The details have legendary layers, yes, but the core remains. Apostles willing to die for what they claimed was true. But these incidents are not isolated by any means. Acts 4 and 5 show us apostles beaten, flogged, and jailed, yet saying, "We cannot help but speak about what we have seen and heard." They weren't after power or wealth. In fact, they gained none of it. They faced rejection, loss of home, loss of life, and still they refused to stop. This pattern over and over points to one truth. They truly believed they had seen the risen Christ. So why does this matter? Because the apostles' willingness to suffer and die shows us they weren't protecting a story. They were testifying to an experience that cost them everything. They had nothing to gain, but they would not recant. Why? Because they knew Jesus had risen, and that combination, eyewitness testimony, unshakable courage, and the willingness to die, is powerful evidence that the resurrection really happened. The apostles' deaths are not just ancient history. They're a living witness that Christ is alive. And here at Walking the Way, that's what we're about, helping you see how the truth of Christ meets you where you are, in real struggles, real questions, and real hope. That's why we use 4 archetypes to reflect the kind of lives we all live at one time or another. The seeker, like Maya, curious, full of questions, not yet sure what to believe. For you, the apostles show that this faith isn't built on stories, but on eyewitnesses who believe so strongly that they gave their lives. There's a stumbler, like Vaughn, someone who's fallen, maybe lost their footing with God. For you, their courage is a reminder that failure doesn't end your story, grace does. There's the wayfarers, like Olivia, someone already walking with Christ, but weary from carrying faith in a world that resists it. For you, the apostles show that faith is not fragile. It's forged in fire and able to endure. There's the companions, like Lucia, someone who carries others, serving quietly in Christ's love. For you, their sacrifice shows that no service given in his name is ever wasted. It echoes through eternity. And if you'd like to go deeper, I put together a free resource called Eyewitness to Hope: Why the Apostles Wouldn't Stay Silent. It lays out the key facts and why they matter for your faith. To get it, just drop the word "I" in the comments. The resurrection changed everything, and these men, by their lives and their deaths, proved they believed it with everything they had. If this video spoke to you, don't stop here. Let's take the next step together. Let's watch this video now. I'll see you over there.